Okay, so we are back to the third section or third part in our project 5. And we are going to consider the following problem. A farmer has a triangular field as shown in the following figure, where two sides measure 450 yards and 320 yards. The angle between these two sides measures 80 degrees. The farmer wishes to use an insecticide that costs $4.50 per 100 square yards. What will it cost to use this insecticide on this field? We will solve this problem step by step. Alright, before we start solving this problem though, I'm going to think to myself, alright, this is 450 per square yards. That's ringing a bell to me that we need to find an area so that I know how many, how much I'm going to have to pay per square yard. So that's just in the back of my mind right now that we're finding an area. So question assessments. Question 1. To be able to find the cost to use the insecticide, you should first find the area of the triangular field. The area of the triangular field is approximately blank square yards. Okay. In this lesson, we were able to derive or find the formula of an area using trig functions. And so I know that the area is equal to 1/2 little a times little c times the sine of b. And you had possibly a list of other options. So you could also have the area is equal to 1/2 little b times little c times sine of big A, angle A. Or you could have the option of area is equal to 1/2 little a times little b times the sine of our angle C. Now, I do not want to have to memorize each single one of these for every single different scenario that's going to come up. So I'm going to make some generalizations. And I'm going to notice that little a and little c are both side lengths. Little b, little c are both side lengths. Little a and little b are both side lengths. And I'm going to notice that big B is an angle, big A is an angle, big C is an angle. So I'm going to think, okay, I'm given two side lengths and an angle. Is there a relationship between these two side lengths and the angle given? Yes, if we were to look at this diagram and I look at angle B, side length little a is right next to it, is an adjacent side. Side length little c is adjacent to it. It's right next to it. So then I know that when I'm given an angle, I'm going to use the two adjacent sides next to it for my area formula. Another way, if you're like, I just want to memorize this, you have to have all A, B, and C. So if you wanted to decide that you had little a times little b, then you know you have to have the angle C. That's not going to work in every case because you'll have to change your labelings. So I would recommend remembering the relationship between the two side lengths and the angle. So if we were to look at the area formula when given side length little b, little c, and sine of angle A, I'm looking at sine of angle A, so I'm looking at angle A, and I'm going to notice that side length little b is going to be right here. That's an adjacent side to angle A. Side length little c, or side length C, is also an adjacent side to angle A. So again, we have a side-angle-side relationship, or the angle with its two adjacent sides. And that's how you can remember the area formula when you are of a triangle when you're using trig functions. So that being said, I'm going to look at the angle that they gave us, which is angle B. And they do provide us the two adjacent angles, which is 320, two adjacent side lengths, which is 320 yards and 450 yards. So the area is going to equal 1/2 the two adjacent side lengths, which is 450 times 320 times the sine of the angle given, which is 80 degrees. I did not have to write the parentheses. I could use a multiplication sign instead. It just doesn't usually show up as large for me. So 1/2 times 450 times 320 times the sine of 80 degrees. So let's go to our Google calculator. Clear, make sure that it is highlighted in degrees, and we're going to type in 1/2, so parentheses 1 divided by 2, close parentheses, times 450 times 320 times the sine of 80 degrees is 70,906.15. So I'm going to write 70,906.158 square yards. So enter your answer as the number rounded to the nearest whole that correctly fills in the blank. So we need to round to the nearest whole number. That means I'm going to round my 10th position. So 70,906.1. Since this one is below 4, that means it's 70,000.96.1 is closer to 70,906 than it is to 70,907. So we are going to type it in as 70,906. Now you can calculate the cost to use the insecticide on the triangular field. The cost will be blank. Alright, we can use our proportions on this. So we were given that it is $450 per square yard. So our proportion that is given is $4.50 to 100 square yards. And I don't know how much it's going to cost when compared to 70,906 square yards. So if I look at this, 4.5 divided by 100, that is a number. And I have an unknown divided by 70,906. So in order to solve for x, I'm going to multiply both sides by 70,906. And this is the multiplication property of equality. 70,906. So then we're going to have 70,906 times 4.5 divided by 100. So 70,906 times 4.50 divided by 100 is equal to x divided by 70,906 times 70,906 is 70,906 divided by x divided by 70,906. So now we need to simplify or reduce all of our numbers. So I'm going to use calculator. Since this side has no variable, no letter, no x that I'm solving for, I can type it into my calculator. So I have 70,906 times, parentheses, 450 divided by 100. So that is 3,190.77 is equal to 70,906 divided by 70,906 is a form of 1. So 1x. Now I've got to think back to myself. Alright, in my proportion, the x was representing the amount of money it would take to cover 70,906 yards. So it will take $3,190.77 $3,190.77 to cover 70,906 yards to cover this area of a triangle. So then we have 3,190.77. Explain the steps you took to solve questions 1 and 2. So question 1. So I'm going to say step 1. We used the area formula of A equals 1/2, what was the side length? Adjacent side length to angle B of adjacent side length of angle B times the other adjacent side length. I'm going to write that. The other adjacent side length of angle B times the sine of angle B, which equals A equals 1/2 times 450 times 320 sine of 80 degrees, which reduced to area equaling to 70,906.1, which was rounded to the whole number 70,906. So now in step 2, we set up a proportion of dollars to square yards. So we had $4.50 divided by 100 square yards. And we actually set up an equality of proportions. Okay, step 2, we set up an equality of proportions comparing dollars to square yards. So we had $4.50 divided by 100 square yards equal to X divided by 70,906 square yards. Then we used the multiplication property of equality to result to get or to have 70,906 times 450 divided by 100 equal to 70,906x divided by 70,906. Then we reduced to have 3,190.77 equal 1x. So the amount of money paid for insecticide cover 70,906 square yards is $3,190.77.